What's going on, everybody? So today we're actually doing something a little bit different. I'm on my way to the Antique Mall right now where I have a booth. I'm here with my employee Kaylee.
Hi.
She also has a booth here as well. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to bring y'all along. We're gonna go fill it up, kind of show you how it operates, some things to maybe look for, some things maybe you don't want to put in there. Yeah, just kind of show you how it all works. So let's get to it. All right, so I'm at 605 Antiques in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. One thing I love about this place is that they're open 7 days a week. If you're thinking about getting a booth in an antique mall, one thing I recommend is to find one in a good location. This mall is right off a main road in the city. It's also by a mall and a bunch of restaurants. Now, this is my booth right here. It is starting to get a little bit low. I'm ready for garage sales to pick up this season, so I can really stuff it full. I really want it to look like this, so I can really maximize the area and make more money. There's about 180 vendors at this location, and I've been here for about 2 years. You can rent a tray and a jewelry box like this. If you have more valuable stuff, you can rent a shelf behind the glass. This is my employee's booth right here. Her boyfriend came by today. I'm going to interview them. I'm also going to interview the owner. There's a lot of information in this video, so let's get to it. That's what I normally do. I load everything on the head, carry it through. All right. Let's go get it done. This is my booth right here. It's a little messy. I've been up here probably 2 or 3 weeks now, and a lot of times whenever I come, I see there's a bunch of stuff in here that's not mine. So basically I'm just going to go through, pick all that stuff out, and then I'll take it to the front, and then we'll start unloading everything. This is not mine. That's kind of pretty. Looks like something that's mine, but
that's mine.
Huh?
Isn't it? Oh, yeah, that's mine.
Oh, it's yours?
Yeah.
Now this booth right here is really cool. Look at all the uranium glass, pink glass. I have so much Pyrex in here. Just look at this. And all these Breyer horses. Pretty incredible. Oh, that's fine, yeah. Can you reach it?
I'm not that short.
I was kind of hoping that boat maker would be sold already, but I think it maybe just takes a right buyer. But if it sits in here too long, I'll probably just put it up on eBay because it'll probably sell a lot quicker on there. And I've had like this projector screen in here for a while. I kind of like how it looks in here, but I think I'm going to take that sign off and make a bigger sign on here, because I think people, even though they see it, they don't maybe realize it's for sale. Even like this table is for sale, and then like this sewing machine over here. So I think I'm going to make some bigger signage, so hopefully those items will sell.
I'm jealous of this. I wish I had this.
What?
To hang stuff on.
This year, that's one thing I'm going to look for more, is stuff I can hang up on the wall, just to kind of fill that up more. Some little like toys and stuff, because a lot of that stuff could do pretty good. I will say board games, probably not my best seller in here. I do like to keep some in here. I probably just need a better place to store it all, maybe easier to get to. As you see here, a lot of these Barbies are kind of covering it up, but definitely Tupperware. Probably one of my #1 sellers in here. In the summertime, this stuff tends to go pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know where to put those comic books, but
I was just gonna put it up there.
that's fine. So those CDs can go like that, and then I did bring this other box. So we're gonna load that up. I do sell CDs pretty good here, and cassette tapes. I filled this up last time I was here. I do need to kind of put some better selection in here, so that's what I did today. I brought a bunch of new stuff, some more new CDs. Some of these older ones I had in here, I think maybe I was trying out. Probably a lot of jazz and stuff like that, maybe not as great of sellers. I think stuff like classic rock is probably one of the best for music media. Everything I got in here, I didn't really pay a lot for. A lot of the stuff I got for really cheap. Everything came from garage sales pretty much. Some stuff came from thrifting. All this shelving and everything I have in here all came from Facebook Marketplace. So that blue shelf I found for $10 on Facebook Marketplace. This one I got for $10, and this one I think I paid like $20 for this. I think I actually, oh, I did bring some cassettes. I thought I forgot to bring some. I brought some, so it's good. So I'll fill this up. But yeah, if you're ever at 605 Antiques in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, my booth number is 35. So that's where you can find me. Oh, here's a big mug. Kind of cheap one. I probably shouldn't have picked it up, but some people like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of times like that mug, you know, some of that stuff may not sell as well online, but I think it could sell good in my booth. So that's kind of stuff I'll put in here, or sometimes I'll buy stuff in bundles, or I just get stuff so cheap I think is interesting, I'll pick it up, and then I go look on eBay later and there's a lot of stuff listed and not maybe a ton sold, you know, so some of that stuff I feel like I could do better in here. So that's kind of how I determine a lot of that stuff. I should take this out. So I took out one of those Corning Visions pieces. I'm gonna put this one in there. These sell really well for me in here. I can sell this stuff online. These were going for like $40 plus shipping. This is a double boiler, but a lot of times it's really, you know, kind of a pain to ship a lot of glassware. So it's a lot easier for me to just put it in here. And put another. All right. Got another pot here. Throw that in here. It's a really cool bowl I picked up. Paid 50 cents for that. I don't know if I get 25 for it. Maybe. I think it's pretty cool. For 50 cents, can't beat it. Alright, now I'm going to go put everything back in my truck and give you kind of an idea of how this stuff works. Well, I need to put this in there. It's actually a Easter Barbie. Easter's coming up soon, so probably a good idea to get that in there. And yeah, this is a Valentine activity set, so that's also coming up soon. So this booth has actually been in here probably about 15 months now, I want to say, and they've been putting more and more clothes in here. So someone asked me about if clothing would be good to do in a booth like this, and it seems like they've been doing really well here. So I think they price most stuff for about what it sells for online, maybe some items a little bit better, but they do have pretty good stuff in here. Like, for example, here is a Wrangler Pearl Snap shirt. This is kind of like a flannel material, and they're asking $25 for it. So one thing good about this, you don't have to worry about doing measurements or anything like that like you would selling online. And yeah, it looks like they do have maybe a few other little knickknacks in here. So something I definitely have thought about doing myself. I've just kind of been waiting for something like this, something I can put clothes on. And there are some other booths in here that do have costumes and stuff like that. This booth right behind me, they have so much stuff crammed in here, and I wouldn't necessarily do my booth like this, but this is just a good example, as in you want to cram your booth with as much stuff as possible in order to make the most amount of money. I wish I had more stuff or better shelving in here. Like I said, I want to eventually get a big shelf right here just so I can really cram it full, get more stuff on the wall. They don't really want us hanging stuff up too high, but you see how they've done. I probably could put something up there and have more stuff for sale and just increase my monthly revenue coming in from over here. So this is Kaylee, and Jordan, this is her boyfriend. Actually, this is my first time meeting you. We've been working with Kaylee for what, almost 8 months now, a little over 7 months now. And first time meeting Jordan, but from what I've heard, he's a really great guy, and they both have this booth together. What is your booth number?
240.
240. And what made you want to get a booth?
We really enjoy antiques in general, and so we go to a lot of garage sales anyways, and so we just saw an opportunity to have something that for us to do together, so it's been fun.
Yeah, something to do on the side, I guess.
It just kind of pays for our hobby.
Right, yeah.
It really does.
And y'all do a lot of auctions too, though, don't you? Y'all don't really do a lot of garage selling. Y'all like to do auctions, huh?
Yeah, in the winter especially, because there's no garage sales to go to. And
Yeah, so y'all are doing
expensive.
what, online auctions right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the summertime y'all do more like actual like in-person auctions, huh?
Yeah.
So I made a list of questions. I went through a lot of my viewers left me questions and stuff, so I just figured I'd put a little list together. So let's just go through some of these. What are your favorite things to sell?
I personally like a lot of glassware. I like glassware, and I think it makes our booth look nice, but we also just started selling mystery bags.
Oh yeah.
Those have been really fun to do.
Yeah, those have been selling. Well, y'all put like, you said like 10 in here the other day and sold them all
Yeah,
like within
on
a
Friday,
day.
and they sold out by Sunday.
Yeah, and that's a great way to increase your revenue for the month as well. So if you're having problems, maybe not making as much in your booth, maybe try some mystery bags, because what you're selling them for, what, $5 and $10 a piece. If you sell 10 in a day, that's what, at least $75 in revenue. So you do that, you know, maybe not you'll sell that much every day, but you're selling a good bit of these, it seems like. So that will definitely help to increase your revenue and make more profit. I was going to say, what would you think sells the best? But I say probably the mystery bags now. Yeah. But other than that, what kind of stuff? I know you had a big wicker shelf in here recently.
Yeah, that sold really fast.
That sold really fast.
A lot of people like to sell furniture, and they swear by selling furniture. We don't have a whole lot of space, so we try to use the most out of it. I think that little things like, you know, postcards and little things like that to cover your rent are good things to have in your booth, and it maximizes, you know, your space.
A bunch of under $30 items.
Yep, exactly.
And then probably some more higher dollar items as well. Yeah.
Tupperware's good too.
Huh?
Yeah, I hate to sell that.
Yeah, Tupperware sells good too. Yeah, see, we have the same.
I don't have much down there. We got to price more.
Oh yeah, got to price more and get it out.
And it's definitely a learning curve, finding out like what sells. I mean,
right, yeah.
We're still almost a year into it. You're still learning stuff, and fads change. I mean, people are buying different things at different times. So.
Right. Oh yeah, we're talking about staging. A lot of people ask me, how do you stage a booth? So there are some people that like to stage booths. I personally just like to cram as much stuff as I can in one booth. Mm-hmm. But I have personally thought about if I ever came across a bunch of furniture and I had the space to store it, maybe I would get a booth just for furniture and then stage some items on there that's also for sale. I think that's maybe good to do. Someone also mentioned too that they know someone that separates everything by color. I thought that was kind of interesting too, but I think that'd be kind of a headache for me. I don't know.
I did that in the beginning, but it doesn't stay that way.
People grab stuff.
Grab stuff, move it around. Yeah.
I also think it makes it harder for certain items to stand out when you have it color coded.
What are some items that maybe you try to sell that didn't sell well, or some stuff maybe you stay away from to put in here?
Uranium glass is one of them for now.
Well, one thing about the uranium glass, normally it would sell really good here, but I think if our booths had electricity, it would probably sell better because we can't light it up or anything. There is someone with a booth over here, I don't know if they have electricity or if they have a battery pack or something on there, but I think that's maybe why. I think people maybe need to see it glowing, especially people that don't know. I recently put some on Whatnot and it sold really fast for a good bit. You know, there's that option, or also selling it online, but yeah, I think for that stuff, if you had it glow, it would probably
definitely
sell a lot better.
We also try to keep like modern items to a minimum, because you know it is an antique store, so we do have some like more modern, like the cookie jar and the mask that we sell, but we do try to keep that to like a minimum. Yeah,
and that actually brought up a good point, because one thing in my videos I mention a lot is that it's my vintage booth, but there are some newer items in there. The main reason why I say vintage booth, I don't say antique booth, is because antiques are generally 100 years or older, and so a lot of the stuff I'm picking up is not, and I just don't want it to be very confusing, you know, but for the most part, my stuff is vintage. I think yours is vintage as well, but sometimes we come across items that are not, or they're more modern, and it's like we get them so cheap and they're good, it's kind of hard to pass them up, you know. Some of those items may not do as good online or be a lot of shipping, and instead we could just put it in our booth instead. So, and y'all don't do any online selling, really. I know y'all have done some.
We thought
eBay.
about doing more, yeah.
Thought about doing more, yeah. But so in a way, I feel like your booth has a really, in a way, a better stuff than mine does, because y'all are not selling online. You're putting a lot of your probably better stuff in here too, whereas me, I'm selling a lot more of my better stuff online, or stuff that's like, you know, it just wouldn't work in a booth.
I think it's a balance of what kind of hassle you have to go through to sell it online and ship it, versus just putting it in a booth too.
So I started putting better items in my booth recently, especially like glassware and stuff, just to kind of get people in the booth, so they may see something and then they may end up buying something else as well while they're in there. One thing I hear from people is they're worried they will lose money by not making rent. What are some tips to help get more sales? And I think we already kind of covered that by loading up the booth, really utilizing the space, mystery bags.
Smaller items, in my opinion. If you have more space, maybe furniture. A lot of people say furniture. is a good way to make money. If you sell one piece of furniture, you know, a month, that covers your rent alone.
Right, yeah.
Since
Agreed.
you're-
So much room.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah. But yeah, your booth is what, about half the size as mine, so I'm sure your rent's probably half of that. But I feel like in a way you kind of have a lot crammed in here, mainly because you have it all on shelves. That's kind of why I also want to get rid of that projector and that desk, so I can just have more space and use more stuff on the wall. If you had a pegboard, a wall in here, you could probably do
Yeah.
a lot more as well, you know. One thing I get asked a lot is, how does the booth operate? Like, do you have to be here at all times? I know some people say they have to work like a day or two a month. How does this work?
It's actually pretty low maintenance. We come here about once a week to put more items in there to kind of keep it fresh. We don't deal with the customers directly. They kind of do all that for us and keep track of it. So it's really great.
Nice. It's pretty easy to maintain. Yeah, I come up here probably I try to come up here every 2 weeks. So, and I seem that works pretty good for me. There has been times where I waited 3 weeks and everything's fine. It's still sitting here. It's not like it goes anywhere. You just sometimes get a little mixed up, and it was nice to come by and organize it and freshen it up, you know. Stuff will get dusty after a while. You do kind of have to clean stuff from time to time, or, you know, lower prices of things, you know. Rearrange stuff. One thing I want to ask you, though, how are you doing your inventory system? You said you have an app or something like that?
We use Airtable. It's an app. We have our own inventory system on there. So when we buy something, we log it. And then when we price it, we log it again. And when it sells, we log it in. So we know where our item's at in that process and what we sold for that month, or you know, if we're missing an item, we don't know where it went.
Yeah,
we can try to find it on there.
Try to track it with that. Yeah, that's smart.
It's good to keep, you know, moving stuff around in your booth, because if somebody who comes here a lot might just skip over your booth because they might think that you haven't updated a lot. So just moving stuff around can really help.
That's a great tip.
Bring
Yeah.
attention to your
We actually, a while back, we moved like all of our shelves like all around and everything, and that's something we'll probably have to do again, like at some point, just to kind of make it look a little different, especially for people who come here all the time, you know, and they may see, oh, this looks different. Let me come in here and
exactly.
you know, see what's going on, you know. How much do you pay for rent, and do you pay commission? Do you pay anything extra like credit card fees or anything like that up front?
So it's $125 a month for the rent, and then it's 5% on every sale.
Okay.
Is the commission that the store gets.
Yeah, it's typically $2 to $3 per square foot in the antique malls around our area. And then they take care of sales tax, the credit card fees. We just pay a flat 5%.
What are some things that you'd love to find for your booth but you've not found yet? And one thing I can think of is you found that it was on an auction, but it got too expensive, that postcard holder to display, like rotated and showed all the postcards and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Magazine rack. Kind of like that, but from that, like an old vintage
Just
comic
for
book
display.
rack.
Oh,
Display. You can
that's
set
a good
it in
idea,
there,
yep.
They rotate. They're so cool.
Yeah.
I would like to have more Pyrex in here because I think there's a lot of Pyrex collectors. It's just when you find them, it's usually overpriced unless you can find them in a garage sale or anything. So we haven't found a whole lot recently.
Yeah, last year I didn't find a lot of Pyrex as I did the year before. But the year before, the ones that I did find like in batches all at one house. So I think I just didn't get lucky, but hopefully this year
I would also
we'll
like to just
some.
find more unique things. I mean, like, the more unique things that you come across and learn about, it's you know, part of the experience.
Yeah. One thing I mentioned yesterday to you that you didn't know about is that we've picked up, probably since we had this booth, I mean, not a ton, but we've probably bought like 8 plant stands, like those wire plant stands, and we sold every one like really quick. So that's maybe a good item to put in there, those little wire like plant stands where you put different tiers, or like even the little small wood furniture has like different tiers, or, you know, plant stands. Those done really well for me. Have you dealt with any theft or anything like that?
We haven't noticed anything big. I'm sure there's smaller pieces we just haven't, you know, noticed. But they get misplaced all the time. So we could have stuff that's missing that,
or it's just in someone else's booth.
That I didn't even notice was missing. It was in your booth.
It was in my booth. Yeah.
So you just never know. That's what the inventory system, we try to keep track of it. But I'm sure there's little things that, like these postcards or something that people do.
Yeah.
Easily can slip that into a pocket.
Yeah.
But they do really good about handling theft, and they try to keep it down. They don't like people to have like big bags in here or anything like that. So
yeah. Really quick, let's cue the wall of shame. So if you get caught stealing in here, your picture is going to go on the wall of shame. And they leave this up here for good. I just saw they had this other picture up here. It's his backup photo in case he comes in and steals his photo off the wall again. So this guy right here, he got caught stealing in here, comes in here and removes his photo. And yeah, they put a backup one up there, so now they can't take it down. So I was just looking around and I noticed this looked really familiar. I was like, I have one of these. And then I realized after I looked at the tag that this was actually mine. It had my booth number on there. So I don't know if someone set this down in the wrong booth or not, but I gotta put them back in my booth. All right, let's put you back where you belong. Well, I think that's all the questions. Jordan, thank you so much for coming out and helping us with this. Anything else that you'd both like to add?
Just come check out booth 240 if you're in the area. We have new stuff every week, so.
Yeah, there you go. I see this one. I don't know if they got electricity
Yeah, they
or
do.
not.
They hook it up right here.
Oh, they do.
They just run it up.
So
I know.
lucky.
We'll get there someday.
They should have to pay more for this.
This is Adam. He's the owner here at 605 Antiques. How long have you had this place for now?
A little over 2 years. We opened November of 2020.
Just got a few questions because I get a lot of different questions about people wanting to get a booth in an antique mall. Just kind of want to know kind of how it works. So one question I wanted to ask you is, how do you know whose item is what when it's brought to the front at the cash register?
So every vendor is assigned a number. Sometimes they choose that number, sometimes we assign it for them. That number is then registered on our system to their name, goes into their sales every month, and they keep track of that daily on the website that is provided to them.
What do you think are some of the best-selling items?
So that does fluctuate a little bit right now. We're seeing a lot of ashtrays, unique ashtrays go out the window. That kind of stuff is kind of unique. We always sell a lot of toys, John Deere, farm trucks, IH, that kind of stuff is always popular in this area. 80s and 90s toys, G.I. Joes, Transformers, He-Mans, records, comic books are probably our biggest outdoor items.
Probably trading cards too, so
Sports
maybe.
cards, we do a lot of sports cards, yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And then you also have, like, we're a place where we can check in and see ourselves, and I believe there's a list on there of like stuff people are looking for.
Yep.
So that's also another, you know.
Correct. So we
thing
go
you can
through
see.
a website called Go Antiquing. It's a great website. Made a guy out in California made it. Comes up. Brass Armadillo uses it. A lot of the big antique stores. So that allows the vendors to see every day what they sell. Every day they sell something, they'll get an email. It says how much they sold. They can log in and see a detailed report. It's nice. It updates every 20 minutes. So if you do sell larger items, it's kind of nice to know that you've had a sale that day. You need to backfill that space.
What are some ways that your renters like to advertise their booths?
Facebook Marketplace is a huge market. It's free to advertise.
That's what we
It
use
reaches
too,
a lot
yeah.
of places.
Yeah.
You can pay to boost your sales or boost your advertising, so that reaches more people. We had a guy post an old coffee bin thing, and a guy in Ohio called in and paid for it. Had it picked up from a delivery unit. So Facebook's a big place. Craigslist is still out there and available. Some people still do the old, radio, but for the most part, it's Facebook. Marketplace.
Yeah. What are some items that used to sell really good in here that maybe people are no longer buying?
We always revert back to glassware and china sets. China sets used to bring several $100s. Glassware, even like a clear glass vase that might have been $150 in the 90s, is now $15 to $20. There's a lot of misconception that glassware still has value. Colored glass, uranium glass, some of that stuff, that more ornate stuff still sells.
Yeah.
But nowhere near the 90s prices.
With some of the stuff I have, it seems like it's more of like the colored glass or the more like harder to find stuff, but a lot of the more common stuff, clear glass and stuff like that just doesn't really
And a lot of
sell
that
as
stuff
well.
that had the real high-end name doesn't necessarily mean anything to anybody anymore. Most of the buying generation is always 22 to 52-year-olds. So whatever those people resonate to their childhood is kind of what they buy. So that's your buying power generation.
Right, yeah. What made you open this antique mall?
So I've been a dealer around the Sioux Falls area since about 2013. This was an antique store in 2014-15. The church next door bought their lease out, so they took a nice deal to walk away. And I always said, when this opens back up, I'm going to open this back up in an antique store. So me and my business partner said, we're going to do this again. In 2020, it came open. So
Nice. I do get some people message me. They say, I'm thinking about opening an antique mall. Do you have any advice for that?
So we had a guy in last week from Norfolk, Nebraska to ask the same question. Location, location, location is always step number one in business. We're in the business district of Sioux Falls. If you're going to open an antique store, it has to be in a business district of wherever you live. Accessibility, parking lot size, that always makes it a little bit easier. And then the demand has to be there. It's no
Right,
different than
yeah.
anything else, supply and demand. If the demand isn't there for this stuff, I wouldn't recommend opening it. The other thing is you have to have vendors. If you can't fill your space with vendors, then you have to fill it with your own stuff, and then it becomes more of a cost for you yourself.
Right, yeah. That's pretty much everything. Anything else you want to add in there that may help some people? Or?
No, you know, our vendors are very active. We have very active vendors that are in here on a regular basis. We stay open late for Monday nights for that purpose, so they can come in and do stuff. But yeah, there's always something new coming through the door.
Right.
We're always buying new stuff. Unfortunately, some days it's worse than others.
You've probably been able to learn a lot of stuff from being here because you see so much unique stuff that I probably wouldn't myself be able to see.
So there's several things that people buy that I didn't realize they collected. You know, I knew cast iron had value, but I didn't realize it was collected in such a high demand. Griswolds, mini brands. I mean, there's just so many things people collect that I'm like,
right,
I had no idea they collected that stuff.
Did you see the hotel keys I found?
I have not seen
Recently?
this, no.
Oh, I got like a whole tray of vintage hotel keys for like $10.
Okay.
Ended up being a lot of money. a lot of
on your video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see
Oh, you
that.
did see that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
I thought you meant
that's
here.
But yeah, you'd be surprised how many people have been buying those, you know, that collect that kind of
Well,
stuff.
you
so.
had a lot of like old Vegas casino key, like the key rings. Or whatever. That stuff, you know, that stuff's not around anymore. Sam's and all those old casinos that people stayed at. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool lot you found.
That's something you don't find, you know, out there. You'd have to find someone who collected those to find a big stash like that. You may find one here and there, but I don't know if I'll ever find that.
Who has that
find that
Vegas
again?
keys,
Yeah. You collect some stuff yourself, right? I know you got those Funko Pops and everything.
That's my collection up there.
Anything else you collect?
Oh, there's not much I don't collect.
Oh, really?
Sports cards, comics, pop bottles, toys, 80s toys, G.I. Joes, He-Mans, Transformers, that kind of stuff. Old candy bar boxes, I like those for some reason. Yeah, in this business, you're somewhat of a mild hoarder. You just have to be willing to let stuff go.
Right. Yeah.
You accumulate it faster than you can sell.
So do you tend to see stuff in here and you're like, oh, I gotta get that for my own collection?
I do. I've really slimmed down on what I actually collect, just because I have so much of it.
So much, yeah.
Yeah. I've got 12,000 records and 20,000 comics and 2,000 Funko Pops. So yeah, at some point it becomes a space issue.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
That's it. All right. Let's cue the Funko Pop collection.